Okay, folks, we're going to talk about Ice Cube and his album with Westside Connection, Terrorist Threats. This is the latest album from Westside Connection, and they went their separate ways, or at least one of them went their separate way due to a conflict within the group, and so it's been since 2003 since we've seen any new music from these guys. Now, Ice Cube, he's doing just fine. He's dropped subsequent albums, and I've reviewed one. He also has been affiliated with Dub C, who I think I'm getting ready to review that pretty soon. They've had some albums, they've done music together. It's been, there's just been some good West Coast music that's come out. The primary thing about it, though, is reflecting on some of the stuff that came out with Death Row going down the drain, Dr. Dre changing, and Tupac dying. Some of the stuff is I don't think folks pay attention enough to the fact that California really didn't disappear. And it just kind of got a little bit beneath the radar. You had folks like Mac Dre, and you had E40, you had Too Short, some of these folks that were still cranking out music pretty often. So Snoop Dogg was doing albums, so between 1997 and 2004, before songs like Drop It Like It's Hot and some of these California new anthems of the past decade, we actually did have some good California. And this album did have a single. Nate Dogg was on it, and it's called Gangsta Nation. Now, it's about as commercial as I would think. It's kind of unexpected, Ice Cube doing this type of song, but it keeps the bite that you're looking for. So you have to pay attention. Just because the beat is inviting does not necessarily mean that it's club. It is club ready, but this was 13 years ago, almost 14. So thing is, there wasn't a second single, and I'm not so sure there's not another song like this song. There are some R&B singers on here, I think like Nocturnal or something like that, but this has its tone to it, and it talks about concepts as if we're not here to. It seems like they have issues that they want to get carved out. So that's the first thing to know, and it does. I'm trying to think of. You can think of that like some of the songs like Terrorist Threats and So Many Rappers in Love, some of these songs, Potential Victims. But, so, to introduce the crew, Mac 10 and Dub C, both are rappers that have dropped albums. And I haven't really focused on Dub C that much, but that's going to change. But I think the only other trace I've mentioned of Mac 10, which is the rapper that left the group, is in the Friday soundtrack. Now, Ice Cube formed this group in the 90s, or the mid-90s. He kind of took a break from doing albums after Lethal Injection, and so between this, their first album, Bow Down, came out in 96. So between all that, this was more stuff that was going on. So we kind of did get some more Ice Cube. People said he went to doing acting. This is not the case. But as it stands, this album is actually pretty solid. So we're going to get into that. There are a lot of... The first few songs on this project are some of the best. I think if I had to choose one that would probably seem like the second single, it would probably be Get Ignant. And I would also choose Bangin' at the Party, Lights Out, and possibly Pimp the System. Now, it just depends upon the direction. Obviously, it's an old album, but, just the direction you want to go in. It's not as enthusiastic. I think that's the best word to describe it. It's just not as enthusiastic as other rappers, but I think you'll wind up liking it. That's the thing is, you know, if you only know this album for the song Gangsta Nation, it's good to, you know, figure out some more of the hits off this. So out of 14 songs or 13 songs, I liked 7. Yeah, so I'm going to list those. Gangsta Nation, Get Ignit, Pimp the System, Bangin' at the Party, Lights Out, Call 911, Potential Victims. Now, Lights Out kind of sounds real mellow. I think you'll like that one. Bangin' at the Party has the potential to be kind of like a rowdy song, but it doesn't really sound like a club song that much. Get Ignit is, again, another song that I did appreciate. This one feels like it had radio play attached to it. Pimp the System, I think you'll like that one. And then Call 911 and Potential Victims are some other ones. Now, this album, you get a taste of it, but it's a rougher album. So, trying to, something else I want to sum up with this just to make it. So, 7 out of 13, I'm going to give this album a 6.5 out of 10. And the only other thing is the social score. I'm going to give it a 4 social because the album is good. You'll recognize Ice Cube, and it's interesting seeing some of the cats he's affiliated with, but there's really only one song I think most people are going to immediately head for. But you know, as with any album, the thing is there's always those extra songs that catch attention. It's just a question of how big the audience is behind those songs. So if you realize that, you know, 8 or 9 out of 10 people will mess with Gangsta Nation, but only like 2 or 3 out of 10 will mess with Get Ignit or Call 911, which are the second and third most popular songs, there you go. So that's the thing, is it's important to fuck with some of this music because you're going to find some new hits on there. It's Ice Cube. You thought he wasn't there, he was. So that's the thing. Those are the bonuses that go along with it. So the social score means how well it plays around your friends. And the future Ice Cube, he's been in limbo, but he has been doing movies. So there's that. Dub C has some albums. Mac 10 does as well. Alright, so subscribe for more fun. Can this record be topped? It can, but just by a notch or two.